Hey Ben,
My man, what's
what's up,
happening?
buddy? Hey, how are you? I
Rock and
need you to
roll.
I need you to get me one of those ATL mortgage T-shirts right there.
Yeah, I do
Extra
need to get
large,
you.
extra large,
I
please.
yeah, I will get you one
Okay.
for sure.
Um, what do you got planned for the fourth?
We are going to in-laws' house up in Tennessee, up at Lake Tellico. It's like in between Chattanooga and Knoxville. It's amazing. It's like
Nice.
in the mountains on a lake on a golf course. So it's like perfect. Um,
You got cell reception up there?
Barely. You have to like put foil on your head, but it's all good.
Gotcha. But you'll probably be doing some mortgage applications this weekend though, anyway, right?
Heck yeah, every weekend. That's what Saturdays are always hot for mortgage applications.
Yeah.
Uh, Sundays are decent, but Saturdays for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're talking about today is this holiday weekend, holiday shopping. I mean, honestly, if you're a home shopper and you've been out there for, shopping for, 6 months or a year or whatever, these holiday weekends, specifically like this one, where a lot of the buyers are like you, that they want to go to the lake, they want to take some time off. If you're in the market, if you stay in town, which is my advice, if you're really, especially if you have a family and you're looking to get into schools by the end of the summer, this weekend's the perfect weekend to stay in town and not have as much competition. And Ben will still be there to get your pre-approval letter done. How
We will.
quickly can you do a pre? What? Let me ask you this, so because it looks like we got some folks watching right now. How, if somebody goes and finds the house that they want on Saturday
Yeah.
and they don't have a pre-approval letter yet,
Yep.
what do they need to get to you on Saturday in order for you to get them a pre-approval letter?
Number one, we're going to do an application. So either we're going to do an application over the phone. I love doing applications over the phone. If they don't want to, I can text them or email them a link, and they can do it online. And then from there, if they can upload their pay stubs, I really need to verify the pay and the assets. And then, of course, when they do the application, I'm going to pull in credit. I'm going to look at credit scores. I'm going to look at all their liabilities, make sure there's no bankruptcies or foreclosures or a bunch of collections that we need to address or whatever. But if it's a cookie cutter deal and they're salaried employee, not variable income, we can knock those things out fast. So, I mean, it doesn't take us long at all.
Okay, so maybe a couple hours, something like that, they'll have a pre-approval letter. Yeah.
Right. Like I take way too much respect in my business, because what I'm not going to do, I'm just not going to write a letter to write a letter, because
Mm-hmm.
my reputation's on the line, your reputation's
Yeah.
on the line. Like, I want to verify income, assets. Where's down payment coming from? I'm going to verify all of that, because the last thing I want to do, I'm not going to put especially how the market's changing and a lot more offers are getting accepted. What I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to do is send out a bogus letter without verifying information, because that
Mm-hmm.
just makes bad. Because at the end of the day, we're telling everybody, oh, you need to use a local lender. Well, the local lender needs to make sure they're doing their job. And so I take pride in making sure that, you're not going to get a 30-minute pre-approval letter from me. I want to verify income and assets and credit before I do
Right.
anything.
That's good to know, and I know if I'm a listing agent and I get a pre-approval letter from you or any other lender, I'm calling you that weekend, and I'm gonna ask those questions like, hey, how much do you know about this buyer?
And
How good to go are they?
and the thing
Yeah.
is, the past 2 years, we've gotten into a habit where the team and we're sending out emails and text messages and phone calls to the listing agent when you're putting in the offer anyways, because we want our offer to get accepted. So I'm saying, hey, Tyler, this has been at ATL Mortgage. I just want to let you know that Lauren has submitted all of her documentation. She's completed the application. I reviewed credit. We have verified down payment. She is ready to go. We can close this deal in 21 days or
There you
less.
go. Yeah, that's
So,
good. Yeah.
if we're knocking that out right away, then we don't have to worry about anything coming back on us. And I want to reach out to that listing agent before they reach out to us.
Right. That always makes me feel better as a listing agent if a lender reaches out to me and says, "Hey, you just got a offer from my client and they're good to go." everything is great. Because I know a lender, a reputable lender is not going to say that if it's not the truth. Because once, like you just said, that's your reputation on the line. If you get under contract and then that person can't get approved for the loan.
Right. And not saying that anything couldn't come up, right? I mean, something could come up at underwriting, on title, whatever, that could hurt the deal. But if I'm not verifying at least their income and assets and credit, then we're in bad shape.
Yeah. Well, hey, anybody, if you log on Facebook, Instagram, or no, not Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, please leave us a comment, a question here, and we can answer those questions live. I mean, especially if you're a buyer right now in the market, and you want to know how to get it done right now. If you've been looking, because there are people right now who, I know there are folks that their families out there that I'm working with that, need to get under contract on something. A lot of them because of, needing to get into certain school districts. School is starting, wanting to get settled before the school year starts. So if you're one of those folks, ask us a question. Ben and I are here to help. That's what the purpose of this show is every Thursday, is to answer those questions for you. So what I wanted to talk about is some tips on taking advantage of this weekend, and specifically looking at houses that have been on the market a little bit longer. So in this market, as you know, a house that's been sitting on the market for more than a week is, the seller is already thinking, what's wrong? The listing agent's already thinking, what's the problem? Because houses are selling in a matter of days. Now, things have cooled off in the market a little bit, as we've talked about. So, they might not be as anxious after 7, but 2 weeks or 30 days, if they've been on the market that long, they're starting to realize they're a problem. And here's the number one problem: price. That is always the 99 times out of 10, nine times out of 10, if a house has been sitting on the market for more than 30 days, there's a problem with the price. So go back and look at some of those houses that you maybe looked at before, or they've crossed your path, and see if any of those work for you now, maybe even at a lower price. And this weekend may be a good weekend to get one of those under contract with less competition, and also where the seller may be thinking, all right, it's a holiday weekend, I want to enjoy my 4th of July too. Let's just get this thing under contract. It's been sitting here for 30 days. Let's get it under contract. And one of the things that I wrote down here that I think, and I'm gonna pull up some houses on the FMLS. One of the things that I was thinking is, if your budget, let's say your budget is $500,000, ask your agent today or tomorrow to send you a list of houses that are listed at 525 to 550 or 550 and under, and that have been on the market for more than 30 days, and go see some of those houses. If there are things, a couple of them, pick a few that you really like and go check those out. Because if they've been on the market for more than 30 days, as I just said, normally there's a problem with price. And this weekend, if you submit a good, solid offer, this may be the weekend that the seller is going to be like, all right, let's just get this thing under contract and move forward, and I can enjoy my holiday weekend, because not only are a lot of buyers at the lake, but a lot of sellers want to go to the lake too, or want to go to the beach, or just enjoy their weekend. That doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get a steal necessarily, but if you can get, you may be able to get it under list price a little bit, but you also need to make that offer very, very solid otherwise. So you probably won't have to give up your appraisal contingency, but make it reasonable and short, and keep your due diligence period reasonable, and put a reasonable close date on there. If the seller needs a little bit of temporary occupancy, give that to them as well, if you can. And you may be able to get a house this weekend that you weren't expecting to get. So
I'll tell you one thing. Appraisals are coming back quicker. Underwriting's quicker. We can close a lot quicker. You can make some very competitive offers out there. We can literally get an appraisal back in Metro Atlanta in 3 days right now.
That's awesome. You can get an appraisal back in 3 days right now?
Yep.
Man, so that's great. I mean, and that's, like I said, you might not have to give up, right now, especially if a house has been sitting on the market for more than 30 days and you're the only buyer who looked at it this weekend. You probably aren't going to have to give up your appraisal. But if you can put a 7-day appraisal contingency on there, that looks really attractive to the seller.
Or do like a 5-day due diligence and write 0-day appraisal.
There you go. Okay, well, there you go. So speaking of that, so like I said, get your agent. If you are going to stay in town this weekend to home shop and you want to see everything that's on the market, get your agent today or tomorrow to send you a list of the houses that are 25, maybe even 50,000 over your criteria, houses that maybe you haven't even seen yet because they're over your criteria, and houses that specifically houses that have been sitting on the market for more than 30 days. Okay. So I'm looking at the FMLS. There are almost 1,400 houses in Fulton County alone that have been sitting on the market for over 30 days. So let's say your budget is $500,000. Have your agent send you properties that are in the 500 to 550 range. And I'm going to put that in real quick. There are right now, just in Fulton County, 69 homes that have been sitting on the market for over 30 days in the 500 to 550 price range. Let me check Cobb County. Cobb County, there are 80 homes that have been sitting on the market for more than 30 days that are in the 500 to 550 range. So
Did I lose Tyler?
yeah, sorry. I pressed the exit studio button. That was dumb. Okay, so yeah, if you have been shopping for a while and you're going to stay in town and look this weekend, have your agent send you a list of those homes. If you're looking in Cobb County, like I said, there are 80 homes in Cobb County right now that have been on the market for more than 30 days that are just in that 500 to 550 range. If your range is up to 550, have them send you homes between 550 and 600 because you probably haven't even seen those houses yet. And this may be the weekend that the seller is going to go, okay, now we understand we're overpriced. And if you give them an offer at 550, they may be ready to take it. So, yeah, what else? What other notes did I have?
I'll tell you one thing, though, that if you have been out there looking for a while and you haven't talked to your lender to get an updated pre-approval, now's the time to do that as well, before they go out of town. And if you can't get a hold of them, of course, you can call me, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I will tell you that, with the interest rate changes, you might not even qualify for that high. So you really need to make sure that you're running your numbers just with the change in interest rates, right?
That's
because
true.
If you pre-approval in May,
yeah.
And, now we're going into July, a pretty big change has happened, the past 60 days. So make sure that your pre-approval is up to date. You still do qualify for that dollar amount that you've been looking in, just to make sure you're playing it safe as well.
Yeah, I mean that's what I have you here for, Ben. Keep me down to earth. Because I'm not looking at when I'm working with buyers. That's what I have you for, is to handle all the number stuff, to let them know what they actually can afford. What I'm looking at are the properties that are inside the budget that they say they have, or the budget they're comfortable with. What they're looking for, and so that's a good point. If they have been, let's say they've been home shopping for 6 months and they haven't got an updated pre-approval, now's the time. I mean, they need to get that because
you got to think like January and February, like we could, we were still locking people in the threes, high twos, threes, let's say.
Yeah.
March, April, May, June. Boy, we're 5.5 to 6.5, depending on the week.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's how dramatic. Rates have never moved that fast in the history of rate. I mean, they went straight up, and so we've had to have a lot of uncomfortable phone calls, like, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Borrower, you don't need to be looking in the 500s anymore. You need to be looking in the 400s because that's how much it's cheap because if you're talking about a 2% swing, that's hundreds of dollars a month,
Yeah.
right? And
Mhm.
so we just need to make sure that we're setting those proper expectations so they're not going out there, you know, what's the saying? Is it like a champagne taste on a Bud Light budget?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's true. That's a very good point. Nobody's watching right now, but anybody who watches this later, that is a very good point. If you haven't had your pre-approval updated in the last 90 days, get it updated because it could be very different. You don't want to be out there looking at $500,000 homes when you can only afford a $400,000 home with these rates. And the same still applies. If your budget has changed, what I just said still applies for this weekend. Take that opportunity to look at some houses that are maybe have been sitting on the market longer. That's number one, sitting on the market a little bit longer. But number two, maybe a little bit over that budget, because this might be the weekend when a seller might be ready to come down on it. I mean, if I got a reasonable offer, if I'm a seller and I got a reasonable offer from a buyer this weekend on Saturday that had short due diligence period, no appraisal contingency or short appraisal contingency, was within, had a reasonable price on there, had a good closing date, and I'd been on the market for 30 days, I might, I think I might be ready to take that offer, because if you haven't reduced the price yet, you've been on the market for 30 days, it's time to reduce the price anyway. So
yeah, for sure.
What else? I'll look at. I'm gonna go pull up the other numbers for the last 7 days.
I still can't wait for those June numbers to come out.
I know. I'm interested to see what happened, because I mean, yeah, look at this. This is crazy. So we talked about, there's a lot more closed. So in the last 7 days, there's been 3,111 closed. Once again, though, we have more new listings than closed listings. So 3,640 new listings in the last 7 days, which is, about 500 higher than closed. So that was not the trend for 2 years. About 2 years, the trend was the opposite, where we could not keep up with, we'd have either equal closed and new listings, or we would have more closed than new listings. So inventory kept going down. But you can see, like, inventory is going to start picking up as we get more new listings than closed listings. So if that trend keeps going like that, which I think it will, I think we'll start to balance back out and hopefully get to that like 3 months of inventory kind of mark. Expired listings is really low. I think I said it was 122 last time, and that's the same this time, 122. 2,846 pending. 2,300 price decreases. I don't remember what it was last time, but 2,325 price decreases.
Dang,
it's quite a few.
So does that mean they were just priced wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a lot, and they were priced wrong, and that's I think the reason why. I hope people understand what I say when I say price decreases. That doesn't mean that home values are coming down. It just means that where sellers before, I mean, last year, a year ago, and even the beginning of this year, because inventory was so low, sellers could just about in most areas just price it at whatever they wanted to, name your number, and you were going to get offers on it. And that's just not the case anymore. So a lot of sellers are still going off that model, I think, and go like shooting high instead of shooting like at market price, and they're sitting on the market and having to take price decreases. So this is the time right now, if you're a seller, that you really need to pay attention to the comps, pay attention to active listings, what your competition is, because
and hire a listing agent knows what's going on too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You got to think, this is where the true professionals are going to shine the next couple of years. But the people who are, listing homes properly, let's be real. You know this as well. Anybody could sell a home in the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't care who you are. You
Mm-hmm.
could put a sign in the yard, put it on FMLS, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't take a true professional to sell a home, but now we're going to see the cream of the crop rise to the top because they're going to go in, they're going to educate the sellers, that on what it should be listed at, and sell the home.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
exactly. I mean, I do think that I do think no matter the market, you need a good listing agent to get you all the way to the closing table. But you're right, as far as like marketing, you didn't have to
Yep.
do in the last couple of years. Didn't have to do a whole lot of marketing. I mean, if as soon as it was on FMLS, or as soon as it was on the MLS, and then it was on Zillow and Realtor.com. I mean, people are going to come see it. They're going to buy it because there's just nothing else out there. But now that the market is shifting, this is the time to really say, like, who is the listing agent who knows the area, has a good track record, how many days on, what's their average days on market, those kind of things, because you need somebody who's paying attention to your listing right now. Definitely more than a year ago, for sure.
100%. Like, somebody like you who, do a correct seller consultation, right? You're doing professional photos. You might even have to do staging, social media posts, postcards, whatever the marketing package is. That's going to win, and
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have to do the extra things to win. And
Mm-hmm.
but if you're already used to it, like you are,
Mm-hmm.
you won't have any issues.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And the last 2 years, to that point, the last 2 years, a lot of, I still take it, as a big part of my job to advise sellers at the listing appointment on what they need to do, what they can expect to get for their house based on the condition that it's in, and recommend things that they could do. The last couple of years, I still did that, but there was less of that necessary, really, because you could pretty much just put something up there and it was gonna sell. Now, you'd get more if you had it staged well and you had fresh carpet and fresh paint and all that kind of stuff. But now is the time, like you said, you got to make your listing shine. You gotta be able to stand out in the next couple months. You're going to have to be able to stand out among the competition. So if your agent says fresh paint is required, you need to get fresh paint. If you need to replace the carpet, because otherwise the other house on the block is going to sell and yours is going to sit until you reduce the price.
100%.
So at this point, you're not going to be able to just put your house on the market and get that market rate for it if it doesn't stack up to the other listings in your area.
Agreed.
So, but yeah, I mean, what else? What other advice do you have for folks that are going home shopping this weekend?
Just make sure you understand the numbers. Make sure that understand what goes into the mortgage payment. Make sure you know what the property taxes are. We've seen a large increase in property taxes in Cobb and Fulton County over the past couple of years, and that has really affected payment.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you understand what the property taxes are. Are there city taxes? For example, I live in Smyrna. We pay Cobb County and we pay City of Smyrna.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know that. So, just being prepared for the true numbers. There's more to the mortgage payment than just principal and interest.
Mm-hmm.
And just making sure you have your financials in a row. That's the big thing. And just prepared to move fast, because it does move fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. I think, a lot of buyers aren't prepared for that sometimes. If they haven't been educated on the process, they're not prepared for, man, I'm going to be closing on this house in 30 days, and sometimes less,
We closed one in 10. Literally, we closed one in 10 days.
Wow.
Because luckily, we had an appraisal waiver. The title was already done on the property because it was a fall through deal, and we kind of swooped in and saved the day so the sellers could still keep their close date. So we look like heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just, the stars aligned, Tyler. I mean, appraisal waiver, title was already done. It was a layup deal anyway.
Wow. Yeah, for real.
800 credit, W-2 borrowers, like every loan officer's dream, like just dropped them into the lap. Like we had it underwritten in one day, like 2 conditions. It was done. Like we were sending out CDs. So
that's great. Man, 10 days. That is insane.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good, that's good advice too, to have everything ready to go. I mean,
and just know who know who you're going to be working with, know who the law firm is going to be handling the title. I have an assistant, Tyler has an assistant, just making sure there's going to be a lot of people contacting you once you do go under contract, just to make sure that you know who those people are, which, I'm sure you already tell them that you work with Trisha and Flo does all my stuff. So
yeah, I mean, I make sure to point that out as soon as we go under contract on the buyer side or the seller side, that, hey, Trisha is going to be contacting you, and the closing attorney is going to be contacting you, and your lender is going to be contacting you, and just make sure you get things back to people as quickly as soon as they get it, because we definitely have had some clients who do not respond very quickly, and that slows things down a lot.
It can, yeah.
You can't do a 10-day close when somebody doesn't respond to an email within 24 hours.
No. So, yeah, and a lot of that falls back on us. Are we setting the proper expectation?
Yeah.
Hey, here's the deal. We're only as fast as you. So if you want to close in 10 days, we'll close it in 10 days. If you want to close it in 40, that's your problem, but you might lose the house and your earnest money. So you got to make sure that you are 100% available if we need something.
Right. And it is, I mean, it's a lot of information to get to. I remember when we were financing back in December, it was like every day there was a new, something else that we had to provide or sign or what. It's a lot of information to provide, and it's literally like a marathon to get to the closing table, but then it's all over and you have a new house.
Yeah, it's a sprint. So
yeah, that's right. It's a sprint, not a marathon. You're right. But okay, so we're going to wrap up now because we're almost at 30 minutes. But to reiterate, if you're going to stay in town to home shop this weekend, if you've been shopping for 6 months and you want to take the weekend off, go to the lake. But if you're going to be here, this could be a really good weekend for you to go out and see some houses. So like I said, today or tomorrow, talk to your agent, have them send you houses that have been on the market for more than 30 days that are a little bit over your budget, a little bit out of your criteria. That's one thing. And go and see those houses, because this weekend, if they've been on the market for 30 days, this may be the weekend that a seller, is ready to get this thing under contract. Because if they've been on the market for 30 days, there probably is an issue with the price. Also, revisit houses that you've seen before that have been on the market a little bit longer. Maybe there's a price you'd be willing to purchase those homes at. And the other thing about this weekend is you're going to have less competition. So this is a good weekend to take advantage of it. Contact Ben, and Ben is going to get you pre-approved quickly. So give him a call, send him an email. If you need his information, I'll get it to you, or he will. What's the best way for somebody to reach you if they need a pre-approval this weekend?
Hit cell phone number 770-841-1532. You can email me, ben@bellmortgageteam.com. Hit me up on Instagram @bellmortgageteam. Slide in my DMs. We'll get you back ASAP. But just be ready to upload some documents so we can get you out that letter.
Yeah, exactly. Very quickly. And I've had that happen so many times when I'm working with a buyer who has a lender and, SunTrust or Bank of America or one of the bigger banks. And they're like, oh, well, I can't call my lender until Tuesday, right? Because it's a weekend and it's a holiday. That's when you call Ben, because Ben's going to get it for you. Ben's not
we're
taking
all
off
in
the
this together.
weekend.
Like, we're all in the real estate. We're all in the real estate game. Okay, I don't care if you're a lender or a real estate agent. We're all as a team, right? So if you need me on Saturday, I'm available on Saturday. Tyler knows he can call me anytime. It doesn't matter. I'm going to answer. If I don't, I'm going to call him back ASAP. So just, if your lender doesn't answer this weekend, call me, and I guarantee I'm going to beat their rate too. There it is.
There you go. All right. Well, I hope you have a good weekend up at the lake, man. We're staying in town, but
what are you guys going to do? Speak on the pool and all that?
Yeah, I think we're going to go. Probably check out some fireworks on Monday, and just hang out at the pool. I think we're gonna go hang out with some friends. I'm going to see Top Gun tomorrow night with some other dads, so that'll be fun. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I heard it was good. I heard a lot of good things. So
I heard it's better than the first one.
Yeah. So anyway, man, have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Later.
See you.